Boom! Shemai, Shemai, croeso. Welcome along to the latest episode of the CrossFit Llanelli podcast. Uh, it's a busy time in many people's lives. School holidays throwing everything that we've kind of gotten used to into chaos and disruption. Lots of people here, there, and everywhere, but podcast, hopefully consistent, uh, trustworthy, dependable, something that you can know is going to drop into your mobile phone or big screen TV, wherever you prefer to enjoy me and my very special guests. Well, this month, let me tell you that we have got Kirsty West coming on for a little chat. Kirsty has joined us in the last couple of years, part of that crowd that transitioned over from RDs, whenever that was. And I think Kirsty's going to have a few things to say, interesting backstory and things that she can contribute and bring to the gym. So without further ado, let's jump over to that conversation that I'm going to have with Kirsty. And then afterwards, update you on a couple of things that have been happening in the lives of various CrossFit Llanelli members. Okay, let's go.
Finish with 100 wall balls.
Well, welcome to the podcast, Kirsty. It is great to have you along. And you've just joined me from the lunchtime class. How was it?
I have, yes. So please excuse the beetroot face. It was hard. It was hard, and it did not help that I repeated the round of 10 for 2.5 rounds before I realized, oh yeah, it was exhausting, and hence I look like I've been to war.
So, for anyone not knowing what day we're recording this, it's Monday, the 21st, and it was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was, yeah.
Excellent.
But in my case, it was 10, 10, 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I did think it was more of a counting workout than many. I
Oh,
got lost.
oh. No, I did find it hard, and, I've really been enjoying, the workouts the last few weeks because it's a bit more bodybuilding element, isn't it? But today, I was so gassed, but it was good. You feel good after it, don't you? And there was only 2 of us, so there was no hiding, me and Amy. Yeah, just get stuck in.
Did you set up facing each other, like head to head,
So
eyeballing?
initially, no, because Amy's such a powerhouse, I thought, "I cannot watch her." So I turned away, and then I thought, "Oh, I need a moral boost." So then I turned to look at her. Yeah.
Yeah, class. So the last podcast, I think I'm right in saying I was speaking with Reese Sams, and between the two of us, we had one Pontedilais accent, and I know I don't really have a strong accent like this anymore, but a Hendy accent. Do you know Pontedilais Hendy? I don't know where you live.
I live in Pontarddulais Hendy.
Okay. So it was very like yokel local, but already you don't sound like Reese or I. So that is my way of getting into it and asking, Kirsty, would you introduce yourself? Why do you sound the way that you do and live in Pontedilais?
Um, yes, so I do live in Hendy in Pontarddulais, and I have lived here for, oh my goodness, how old am I? I'm old. I've lived here for about 30 years. So you would think by now I should sound like a local. And when I go back home, which is very rare now because I haven't got much family left, they always say, "Oh, she sounds like such a taff." But the people around here will still say I still sound very northern. So yeah, so I was born in Oldham, but I was raised in Ashton in Greater Manchester. And then round about 11, 12, I moved to Germany for 4 years. I didn't pick up that accent. And then I moved to Hong Kong for 4 years, and I definitely didn't pick up that accent. My parents served in the armed forces.
Okay.
And then in between that, I also went to boarding school for 4 years. So even though I should have quite a mishmash, I think I've kept that main northern.
You have on the main kept it, but there are a couple of phrases that you said by now,
Yeah.
and sound very
Yeah.
Welsh. That is one of the
And
things.
if I ever hear myself recorded, I think I end my sentences on a bit of a Welsh lilt.
Yeah.
But they say that you have two types of brains when it comes to accents. So those people that automatically pick up local lingo, accents, etc., and it's like they've lived there forever. And then those people that their brain doesn't really register it. I think I fall into that camp because 30 years on, I think I should sound Welsh.
Mm. Well, you yeah. It's probably not gonna change now, is it?
No, no.
So what brought you to Wales then, 30 years ago?
Oh, oh, see, this this might take a while. So, okay. So when I was 16, I was at a wedding party, a friend's wedding party. And I don't, I don't encourage any youngsters, drinking, but I'd had too much to drink. And there was a very nice DJ there, who I tried to impress and basically had to say, sorry, no love, I've got a girlfriend. It's like, oh, okay, okay. And then, oh, I was 16. So then 2, 3 years later, I was in university. I followed a boy. Um, that's why I chose my university. And one night he said, "Oh, do you mind if some of the boys come over for a night out?" I was like, "Yeah, no, no problem." And the last one to walk in was that DJ boy. A long story short, he started dating one of my friends. And then several months later, he broke up with her. I broke up with my boyfriend. We were really good friends at that time. I used to come down, stay with his mum. We used to go clubbing in Martha's and Night Owl and, all around Manchester and all those different places. And it just went from there. He's from Ponta. And yeah, 30 years later, still here with him.
You met a DJ from Ponta twice? Okay,
So
yeah.
he's ex-army, so he was serving in Hong Kong, and then he was serving in Turnhill, which was just down the road from Staffordshire University.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
fate.
you moved to Wales for love,
I moved to Wales for love, yes.
and
Yes.
there are many wonderful English women who have made that step up, that upgrade, and
Yeah.
crossed
Oh,
over.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's class. So, I'm searching my brain. You have children, right? I feel like you've got.
Yeah.
I've heard you speak about an older son. Or
Yeah, I've got 2 boys. I've got Cameron, who is 25 in September, which seems mad. And I've got Kian, the youngest, who has just turned 23. Both still at home. Cameron desperate to leave. Kian is not going anywhere.
do they sound Welsh or do they sound Northern?
They definitely Welsh, and they both speak fluent Welsh as well.
Okay, that's decent.
Yeah,
Kian
yeah,
is a solid Welsh name as well, so hat tip for that. Um, Obviously, I'm not interviewing you because we want to know 100%, how you've come to Wales, but how you have come to be a member of CrossFit Llanelli. So tell us a little bit, not just like the move to CrossFit Llanelli, but what was it that sparked your interest and started you in CrossFit in general?
well, funny because I tried CrossFit Llanelli. I can't remember when. It was years and years and years ago. Um, and I went, and I couldn't tell you why I went because it was such a long time ago. Um, and I didn't stay because I thought I'm not ready. It was at a time where I was probably doing legs, buns, and tums, pole dancing, belly dancing, etc., etc. And I wasn't ready to join then. So I went back to my doing my regular gym memberships, different gyms, various classes, and I'm I I'm really into um mental well-being, health, fitness, etc., as part of the aging process, etc. And I was in a gym and I thought I want something that a bit more challenging, but is also something that is going to help me age well. The thought of, and I apologize for anybody that has to go through this or whatever, but the thought of needing assistance on the toilet, needing assistance bathing, I am going to do anything so that that's not me. Touch wood. But if I can do anything that helps my physical and mental well-being, then I'm all for it. And I joined RDs. I turned up on my own to do free pass, free. I don't know if it's 3 days or 5 days. I loved it. I loved just that sense of community, that it's something different all the time. That some days you can come out thinking, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then other days you come out and you feel absolutely flawed. And then obviously, as lots of people know, RD's closed. And it was like, where next? And it had to be CrossFit Llanelli. So it's down the road, it's convenient. Yeah, so
So you've been
yeah,
with us now about a year and a half then, I guess, or
2 years March. Yeah,
is it 2
yeah.
years?
2 years. It's flown, and I think it's 2 years March. Yeah,
Wow.
I think it
Okay.
is. Yeah,
You mentioned there that you had this desire to stave off um, in increctitude. I don't know. Maybe I've just made up a new word, but that idea, and I think it's one of the things that's out there. CrossFit like advertises itself as that sort of thing. But how was it you made the link between wanting that and CrossFit? Because it's not a given that someone will say, "I want to age well. I don't want to need help getting out of a chair when I'm older," but
yeah.
not
So
necessarily make the jump to CrossFit.
yeah, so it sounds a bit corny, but I'll say like my journey, I would say, started during lockdown. So I was doing Gemma Pegler's sessions online, so like kettlebell sessions, etc. through lockdown. I woke up one morning and I literally needed to hold the banister to get down the stairs. Not from exercise, not from exercise. My It was my knees. My joints felt like I'd aged overnight. And that was my instant thought. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. And you're talking about, I was about 45. Um, I'm getting old. Oh my God, if this is it, dear God, what am I going to be like when I'm 55, 60, etc.? And at that time, I didn't know anything about menopause. I just thought I was aging. And a few days later, I was listening to a podcast called Irregular Bitches. It was a new podcast, and it was, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it was one of the women of the 80s who used to host a show. And she was talking about joint pain
Mm.
and it being linked to menopause. And the more I listened and the more I thought, oh my gosh, that's me. And you go down a rabbit hole then, don't you? Like, wow, this podcast, this bit of research, these books, etc. And the weightlifting element starts being introduced, strength training, etc. And how, you've got to do strength training if you want to be able to move better in your older age. But at that time, I was more like, even though I was doing some basic weights, I was more cardio. I love running. Um, so I was more cardio, and I knew I needed a blend of the two. I couldn't just do pure weights. Um, but I knew I had to incorporate it somehow. And the more research I did, the more it was like, oh, you know, CrossFit keeps popping up. Um, and I was ready for a change as well. I tried pen rowel, like I said, doing like legs, bums, and tums, Zumba. I love dancing, by the way. That's why I was doing the Zumba. But it wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Um, yeah, so I suppose it's that. So I'm not one of those, I don't have to do a comp or anything like that, but I do need a challenge, and to feel like you've done a workout. So it's almost like it's just a natural, oh, I'm gonna give it a go. Yeah,
Mm.
and I really enjoyed it. And some of it is still super hard, but overall, yeah, I love it.
I think anybody invested in CrossFit, I mean, our gym owners, coaches, um, people who work for CrossFit, like
Hmm.
you would have ticked so many of their boxes of like, yes, this is exactly
Yeah.
what we think people should be looking for, and seeing like CrossFit as the answer for all of those things. I think
Yeah.
what does an
Yeah.
advert for it? You just given an advert for it.
Yeah.
That's-
And that's the thing, isn't it? I imagine, like, I'd love my eldest boy. My youngest boy isn't allowed to do certain exercises because he's got certain conditions. But I'd love my eldest boy to come along because I think he would love it. And my partner, I think my partner at the gymnastics would be amazing. Um, but they're like, oh no, 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 it's not for me because what they've seen on TV. And you're like, yeah, but you can scale, you don't have to be able to do everything. There is an option if you can't do something. I'd love them to come. And I am hoping that one day they will because they're both massive into fitness. And I'd love a family session.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because
Mm.
seeing it on TV,
Yeah.
on YouTube and Netflix and things like that
Yeah.
was what drew me in. So it's
Really?
seen that, not ever
Yeah.
thinking that I would look like or compare to those, but just
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought this feels like
Yeah.
exercise in a kind of
I know.
a
Yeah.
sporty,
Um,
competitive way, and I've
yeah.
always loved that as well. So
Yeah. And my partner's ex-army. Oh, and he was amazing at the assault courses. He held the BFT record and everything in RRW. And I know he'd be superhuman, but I haven't convinced him yet.
oh
But
dear.
fingers crossed I will.
Okay, well, maybe show him this podcast when it comes up, and he'll
Yeah.
feel embarrassed that I have to do that. So you mentioned in there as well, though, that you like running. You dropped in the words pole dancing a little bit ago.
Oh yeah, I'll try anything, me.
What's your sports fitness background then, or even what? How do you use like your fitness outside of CrossFit? I'm not presuming that when people do CrossFit, that's the only fitness and exercise that they do.
Yeah. Background wise, see, I was really good at sport until I hit puberty. And then I was a disaster. As in, it didn't really hold any interest. And then when I met Clayton, it was almost like I had no choice. He would have me running over Brecon Beacons, Black Mountains. He's the reason I learned to ride a road bike as opposed to, a high a normal bike. I don't know what they're called, but he's the reason I learned to ride a drop handle bike. He's the reason I did my first triathlon, my first marathon. Um, Probably I wouldn't have even ventured into those areas had it not been for him. But through him, I got the bug. Um, and I love, and not, well, this will be apparent to lots of people. I love socializing and chatting. So sometimes I can be a bit disruptive in classes, but I also like that group mentality. Whilst I'll take myself off for a run, a swim, a walk, I do love that, let's get together and do something together. So that's why CrossFit suits me as well, because it motivates you.
Um,
I don't think I could go to the gym like my partner and do a weightlifting session on my own anymore. I think I'd find it quite boring. Um, so background wise, I would say it's because of Clayton that I enjoy it now as much as I do. Um, and I've done a few challenges because he's basically trained me to do them.
mm,
Through his qualifications, he's known how to train me to get ready for a triathlon, train me to get ready for a marathon. Um, and they're things I probably wouldn't want to do again. But outside of CrossFit, I'm in a running club. I still enjoy running. I love Pilates. I go to Pilates as well. In the hope that maintain a bit of flexibility, I hope. I like swimming. Um, yeah, I like to do a few different things, which probably doesn't go in my favor. I'll never be good at one thing because I like to do lots of different things. Mm.
Again, that is CrossFit.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
will remain
yeah,
bad at anything,
yes. And I
but
love going for a walk in my weighted vest.
oh, do you do it with a weight vest on show, or do you do it like me, put a massive coat on top so that
Oh, it
nobody knows
depends on the
you?
weather. Depends on this week. It's been so muggy. It's been on show. I went this morning, went for a walk, and thought, oh, I need to go to the GP to pick up prescription. So I just walked in. They must have thought, yeah, she's normal. But yeah, if it's cold, I'll put a jumper over and quite happily look, twice the size and really
Eh,
hench.
oh, hench, yeah. It's got its benefits. It's got its benefits. So you said about trying new things, you said about, being part of a class environment,
Yeah.
and if I'm not gonna say Instagram, it was the WhatsApp group, wasn't it? If that
Mhm.
photograph was to be, believed, you took part this week in the first Upside Down class.
I did. Yeah.
Why? How was it? Will you do it again? I mean, those sorts of questions, I suppose, would make sense.
So I signed up and I did tell Gemma, I said, by the end of this session, I want to be able to do 50 meters in one direction, turn around and come back and 50 meters. We didn't achieve that last night. That'll be next session. Yes, that handstand walk, being able to go at distance. I think it's a long way off. It was really good. Although I woke up this morning feeling like I had a mild hangover, I think because I was upside down so much and really felt like I'd used my shoulders, that
Okay.
pushing, Um, but it's excellent. It's excellent. Gemma's instruction is superb. Um, and great bunch of people. And I think I went not just to achieve that handstand walk distance, but also I wanted to learn to fall safely because I don't fear tipping myself upside down. I got no problem with that. It's tipping myself. I'm worried about damaging my teeth. And I know that sounds mad, but um, when I was on a road bike, must it must have been just before lockdown. Um, I had a road accident. I came off my bike at speed, hit a couple of trees, travelled on the floor, and degloved my face, and I was in hospital for several days. Um, and miraculously, my teeth were all fine. That was the first thing they were concerned about because I'd had such impact. They thought I'd mangled my teeth, and they were fine. Although my mum did say that my biological father, that's the only thing he ever gave me was decent teeth. And my teeth were fine. But ever since then, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with teeth. Oh, I might as well throw that in. It's the first thing I look at when I meet people. Do they look after their teeth?
Yeah. Oh, oh,
Look after your teeth.
okay.
Oh, look after your teeth. I'm telling you, they hold your face shape. They allow you to enjoy your food. I'm obsessed with teeth. Um, and going upside down, I always think, what happens if but I know I've got strong teeth, but what if I land on my teeth? So I joined so I could learn to fall safely. And I only fell once last night and I fell out safely.
It
So
would be
it
a
worked.
heck of a fall if he fell on your
That's what
teeth.
they said last night, but it's just paranoia, is it? One
Yeah.
person said they feared dying, so I think mine is mild in comparison.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm not 100% sure I wasn't about, but is the plan are they weekly things or monthly things for, like, what's the score with it?
So I think Gemma said with the handstand session, she would hope to do the second session in about 6 weeks, but they hope to do other skills sessions depending on interest and coaches availability. Because I would love one as well on double unders because it's one of those things. One week I get it, And then the next week, my brain's like, can't do this. Then the next week, I get it again. And I almost need a session on how do I maintain that consistency so I can get it every week and not just sporadically.
Yeah. Once
So,
again, welcome to CrossFit.
yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It is mad. It's like, it's like one day you can look at a box, you know, well, before CrossFit, I would never envisage doing a box jump, and that first mental block when you step up to the box. I know I can do the high box, but sometimes it's like, first one, I'm like, oh, I need to take a running jump. Oh, Charlotte, can you hold my hand just to get me on the first one? And then sometimes you're just bouncing on and off like it's nothing. It's just madness. It's
Yeah,
madness. Um, yeah, yeah,
it's part of the joy of
yeah.
conquering these things and not
Yeah,
necessarily
and the
becoming an
frustration, the
expert.
highs and the lows, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you can come away really frustrated, but you get to do it again a few weeks later.
Yeah, true enough. Um, so one of the reasons that I wanted to do the interview with you in general was because you popped up again in our gym WhatsApp group,
Yeah,
suggesting that you wanted to start something for the women
yeah,
uh, to share about your experiences, share
yeah,
about your experiences, share about each other's experiences
yeah,
of menopause.
yeah,
I just thought it'd be a really good chance for you to maybe go into a little bit more depth about what that is or could be, why that would be a beneficial thing
yeah.
for everyone listening.
So, okay, just to give you a bit of background, as I alluded to earlier on, for me, my journey in menopause started during lockdown with no knowledge and thinking I'm getting old, which is pretty tragic mid 40s, thinking, "Oh, this is it." Because that is midlife, and you think, "Oof, every year it's gonna get worse." Um, and then slowly through my own research, it's my favorite topic. I research like hell. I go to all the conferences, the training. Um, I realized, oh, it's the start of my menopause years. Um, And because I was so interested in it, I put myself through menopause practitioners qualification so that I can support women. Not for money, not for monetary gain, almost my little bit of like giving something back. Um, because the world of menopause for women is quite mind blowing. Um, It's so much better than it is. I can't envisage what it was like, to be my gran or my mum, um, and not having that support and not knowing where to turn
Right.
to and all these symptoms, etcetera. And even now, GPs are not trained in menopause, it's usually specialists. And I thought, well, it gives me the chance, like, to support friends initially. And there's some horrendous facts as well, like, statistics, nearly 1 million people in the UK have left work because of menopause symptoms. Um, um, Suicide increases sevenfold across menopause years. Depression increases tenfold. 7 in 10 women say it's the reason they divorce their husband. And you think, whoa. And I didn't, and I don't want to be one of those statistics. So I really did it to advocate for myself, the training, the qualification is. I did it to advocate for myself and to be ready for what was coming. Well, work obviously heard about it. I am now the Neath Patalbot menopause champion. Um, I support women in work. I support women on sick with menopause issues to try and get them back into work. Through that, now I go into schools and homes, etc., to discuss menopause with like teachers and care workers, etc. I run menopause cafes, so where women can come together and pick a topic sometimes. What matters to them. Um, I've got a few groups where supporting women. WhatsApp groups and stuff. And I thought, oh, do you know what? There's such a range of women in CrossFit because I don't think it's one of those subjects that you should leave until you're in the throes of it yourself. Um, if you can be forearmed with knowledge, it means you can advocate more for yourself rather than going to a GP and saying, this is all happening. And they go, "Mm, it's just part of aging, because it's not cost effective for them to put you on HRT. Or they go, oh, here's some antidepressants. And yeah, that might help with some symptoms, but it shouldn't be the first
Mm.
port of call. Um, so yes, so I thought, oh, there's a lot of women, and I chat to a lot of the girls in CrossFit. We do talk menopause, and some women have struggled and are struggling. And I suppose it's a bit like CrossFit. There's nothing better than a group of you talking about it, sharing and realizing it's not just me.
Mm.
Oh, actually, oh yeah, I get that symptom as well. Oh, I've come to a dead end going to my GP. Has anyone got any suggestions on how I can deal with this? That community aspect, you know, is so much better. And I just thought if I could create a safe space where women can come together, dip in and out as they want across different ages, because it's not as well, there's this, and I have people in work that say it, I say to them, oh, could it be linked to menopause? And they go, oh no, I'm through all that. I had my last period 4 years ago. And they think that's it. When actually, I'm working with women that still have symptoms who are 70, 75, because it doesn't just stop. Some women do sail through it. There's no argument about that. But a lot of women think that their symptoms they should just live with because they had their menopause day X number of years ago. And that's not realistic. So yeah, and spread the word, and you can see how much it's grown on TV and in the media, etc. And it needs to be talked about. So I just thought, as an idea, maybe menopause crew in CrossFit.
That well, you are obviously passionate about it, and one of the questions that I have just listening to you there is how much education about menopause happens like anywhere else? I'm thinking in schools, they teach young girls
Mm.
about puberty
Yeah,
and young
yeah,
lads and um, loads of um, PSE lessons they used to be called when I
yeah.
was in school. I don't ever remember
No, it's
menopause being
not.
a topic. Is
Yeah,
that
it's not part of any curriculum. Your general practitioner, they get roughly between 10 and 20 minutes of their entire career on the subject. And unless they choose to go down menopause specialism, subject is never touched on again. Um, yeah, it's just not. It's
so?
not discussed.
If you didn't go on the internet digging around researching, the only way, like generally in Britain, that you would know about it is if you had spoken to someone else, like a parent, a
Yeah,
grandparent,
so
friend going
so th
through it.
yeah. So there's been a few documentaries, on TV lately, and it's come about because stars, celebrities are talking about their experiences. So Davina McCall, has done a couple of TV programs, which has really fired people up and them going, gosh, that's me. Why did I not know? There's a couple of menopause specialists, such as Dr. Newson, who got a big profile, even though Panorama tried to absolutely annihilate her with the worst data on the planet. It shouldn't have even been allowed to air with the background that they dug up. It was just, oh, it was, made my blood boil. Who are really pushing and advocating for women's health. And I can't remember this figure. I think it's something ridiculous like 2% of medical research goes into women's health. And that's not just menopause, that's across the board. It's it's a ludicrous figure. you know, on any subject related to women's health. It's diabolical. Um, and everything that is researched and then fit for women, as in we put in a box, is geared towards men. So they do the research on men and then water it down for women. Well, we're not mini men. That's not what we are.
Yep.
We're completely different. But they do all the research around men and then gear it towards women without any research on women. It's scandalous.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you won't get training in school. And if it's something, like I fell into it because I listened to a podcast and it was a podcast. It was supposed to be a funny podcast. It wasn't a serious podcast, but it set the alarm bells ringing in my head as to, oh my God, maybe yeah, I am getting old, but I don't have to live with these symptoms. You know, if I know, the libido, okay? If a
Mhm.
man walked into a GP surgery and said, "Oh, I can't have sex anymore," oh my gosh, they'd be jumping through hoops to make sure that happened. Oh, here's some pills, here's whatever. Woman walks in, oh, it's just part of aging. And it's like, oh, it's just it's not acceptable. Um, yeah, yeah. And then you can see, you know, how because it's not geared towards women, how men then suffer. If you're living with a woman that's going through menopause and you don't know why, she might be crying all the time, or why she's suddenly not interested in you anymore, or why she's raging because, you didn't put the dishwasher on, or her hair's falling out, or she's not sleeping. So, she's got anxiety because she's not getting proper sleep, or she's ballooning in weight, etc., etc. It's, yeah. So I'm doing my little bit so that I can share that knowledge.
Mm.
Hopefully, hopefully.
And you kind of spoke about the upper age end of people think, well, that's something that's behind me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I not gonna say I know as much as you, but I know that it isn't. You have to be 45 before you go through the menopause. Like there might be age ranges where it's more typical, but it can affect women of
Yeah. So
vast variety of ages as well. And
yeah.
like you
So
said, the forearmed, forewarned. The
yes.
younger you are, you
Yeah.
know about it, the better it
Yeah.
presumably can be.
Yeah. 45 is the age where it's symptom led. So if you are under 45, so say you went to your GP, I know I'm going through the menopause. So you're advocating for yourself rather than asking them what's wrong. I know I'm going through the menopause. If you're under 45, they will make you have blood tests. Okay. Blood tests for menopause are absolutely useless because your hormones are like that, and they would have to take your bloods basically of every hour of every day. Well, that's not going to happen. They take your bloods, they come back as normal. They say, "Oh no, it's not menopause linked because you're under 45. It's blood led." 45 is a bit more of a bonus because it's symptom led. So you can tell them what symptoms you have, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's menopause." But so many women, are going through it much earlier, like lots of things, like puberty happens earlier now, than it used to, years ago. Well, puberty happens earlier, so why aren't they connecting the dots that menopause could happen earlier as well? I know ladies in their mid-30s, that are going through, the menopause, and their GP is telling them, "Oh, no, it's depression." And they put them on antidepressants. 6 months later, they're twice as bad as they were when they first went, um, because it is happening earlier for women. And then, as well, GPs saying, "Oh, the average age," so menopause in itself is just 1 day. So you have perimenopause, then you have your last period of 12 months, and that's classed as your menopause day, and then after that, you're postmenopausal. So menopause in itself is literally 1 day. And you've got GPs now saying, oh, well, you're through the menopause, I'm going to take you off your HRT. When actually, it's just that your hormones have dropped to a level where your periods have stopped, but your hormones continue to drop as you age regardless. So you still continue to get either the symptoms that you've always had or new symptoms or ongoing symptoms.
I need.
So, you know, the nice guidelines, so like the health guidelines, you can be on HRT until you die. But you got GPs fighting to take you off because you're 51. You've gone through the average age of menopause. Oh, you don't have periods anymore. It's the knowledge at that level is quite poor. It's getting better, but villages like Hendy Ponta de Lice, it's not good.
Um, and yeah, well, I think this group be real beneficial. As
Yeah,
we've already spoken about, like the gym is for a lot of people their community,
yeah,
their kind of group of kindred spirits and things like that. So if it's
yes,
not discussed with those people, it won't get discussed at
yeah.
all.
And
So
for any women listening, you're doing one of from CrossFit, you're doing one of the prime things already. You're moving, you're keeping mobile, which is amazing. Going to CrossFit would be top on my list.
yeah, awesome. Again, you're doing the work for them. That's amazing. Okay, let's finish off now, and
Mhm.
the kind of questions that I generally ask people to close, like, what is it that you love doing in CrossFit? What is it you hate? So I phrase it like this: if you were to devise the perfect WOD for you, what would it look like? Thinking AMRAP versus EMOM versus for time, what different movements would it have in it? And then the next question, you could delete one movement from the CrossFit library forever. It never came up in a WOD again. What would it be?
I'd find the second question easier to answer. Ah, my preference would be EMOM to an
Okay.
AMRAP. Don't know why. Maybe because you get a bit of rest.
And how many
um,
reps you're doing in the EMOM, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It would incorporate deadlift, without a doubt.
50-foot
Skipping.
handstand walk?
No, 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 no. I'll leave that, but I won't get rid of that, but I'll leave
Yeah.
that for now. I'll try and achieve that by the time I'm 60. So I'll decide if I put it into the workout then. Um,
So deadlift and skipping.
Deadlift, skipping, um, bench press. Do like a bit of bench press, running.
This is a heck of a
Uh,
WOD.
yeah, we haven't said rounds and how many yet. That's okay. Um, rowing. There's loads of things I like. I'd be easier saying what I'd get rid of.
So
Oh,
go on then,
oh,
let's go for this. What is the one thing you know already
snatch,
before I even ask?
snatch. Oh my god, I find it's so hard. Getting under that bar fast is so hard. Not getting under it and then riding it down because you haven't got under it quick enough. Oh, snatch. That fear of having that weight above my head.
Yeah, this is the most relatable content I think we produced. I snatched it,
Yeah,
and now I need to
yeah.
sit down.
And I think, do you know what? I think it's because we were doing so much snatch at one point. We were
Mhm,
doing a lot, weren't we?
I think so.
And I only it hasn't even bothered me so much the last few weeks because we've had those, extra different bits. I love like doing like the hammer curls and, you know, curls and oh, because they're new, aren't they, as part of like is it like bodybuilding
Yeah.
programming? Which initially, when we changed our programming and it said like Olympic lifting, weightlifting, bodybuilding, I thought it was that pausing. I was like, I'm never doing that. Not
Well,
pausing in your
if you get good at it, why not?
thought with my gravy brown in tan.
I'm sure there
But
are people
thankfully
in
it
our
isn't,
gym
and
who have done
I've
that, so
yeah,
let's
I've
not.
loved it the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Snatch for me is probably the worst movement, but it hasn't bothered me the last couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, I feel like that's something that's gonna land with loads of people. Adam Rees, that was the one thing he wanted to keep in CrossFit. If you've
No
ever snatched
way.
him, you'll know
That's
why.
probably because he's amazing at it.
Yeah, he is. But he's practiced. Fair play to him. So,
Yeah,
um, different horses for different courses. There it is.
absolutely.
Oh, Kirsty, thank you very much for finishing a horrible WOD, racing home, jumping on with me to record this. And thank you
Oh,
very much
thank
for being
you.
enthusiastic and speaking on all aspects of things. And yeah, I want
Thank you.
I want the group to take off as well and to be beneficial to as many
Yes.
people as possible. I do.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, great.
Cheers, Sammy.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Thumbs to bums and tight is light.
Well, I was right. Kirsty was fascinating. Has had a lot of stuff happen in her life, is involved in a lot of stuff now, and is passionate about it all, which I think is always wonderful to see, isn't it? Especially that area of women's health. And I really hope that she can make a positive impact in our CrossFit gym community, sharing about that, educating men as well as women. As we said in the conversation, that is something that affects all of us. Right, now to finish off, this is what we will need to do, is just to go through some of the things that have been happening in the general life of folks in the gym. There's not too much to share by way of advertising. We've got the mixed abilities pairs comp coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I think officially the registration has closed. If there was somebody who, for whatever reason, forgot to sign up, I don't think Rhiannon would say no. So you can probably go and nag her if you still want to be a part of that. But officially, the registration has closed. I've been advertising about the CrossFit Llanelli CrossFit Games Fantasy League. Loads of you have already jumped in. If you don't know about it, it's basically choosing the 3 people who you think will stand on the podium for the men, the 3 people that you think will stand on the podium for the women. I've got a way of figuring out what scores that means that we all have by the end of it, and then we will have prizes for the people who basically pick the best team. So 3 men, 3 women, and a captain. That captain is the person that you think is going to end up most certainly on the top spot in either the men's or the women's division. So send me your picks if you want to be a part of it. Completely free to join in. There will be some small fun prizes at the end of it. Get in touch. And the closing time for that is 1 minute before the first event. The games start on August the 1st. So let's get those in as well. Okay, what has been happening to folks in the gym? Genuinely, Rhiannon has sent me a little note, and quite hilarious how she has summarized a few things here. Fionn comeback. Now, I'm guessing this is referring to Fionn and the operation that she had recently on her wrist. Slowly but surely, over the last couple of weeks, she's been reintroducing various elements to her training, putting extra stress and expecting more from her wrist. And so, Fionn, you seem to be doing a really good job making your way back from that injury. And just reminds me of earlier in the year, a couple of people having injuries and just figuring out ways of training around them and kind of coming back faster and stronger than most people would expect as well. So turns out CrossFit is really, really good for you. We've got another one here. She's written down Jamie Stedman nominated Entrepreneur of the Year Calms Biz Awards. Some of you will know Jamie as the guy in the gym who can strict pull up nearly as much extra on him as he already weighs. Jamie sometimes does freakish things like last Tuesday's WOD and being about 6 minutes quicker than everybody else. It was Reese Sam's level of obliterating the rest of Beyond the Whiteboard. But yeah, Jamie was nominated for an award, Calms Business Awards. He didn't win it, sadly, but congratulations to Jamie. I actually know a couple of women who go to his various gyms, and do you know what, mate? You're doing a wonderful job, and it's really impacting and having a positive effect on loads and loads of people. This is where the notes start to get a little bit more interesting. Steve run hot weather. Make of that what you will. This is what I'm going to make of it. Our very own Steve McQuaig ventured across the border to take part in a 100-kilometer race. It was the other weekend when the temperatures were like 30 plus degrees. And sadly, Steve, along with so many others who were trying to complete that 100-kilometer ultramarathon, had to withdraw before the end. I think Steve managed to make it 50 kilometers before having to withdraw because of the extreme temperatures. But this is the mad thing, is that Steve was not content ever with just running 100-kilometer race, but he'd already booked himself into back-to-back 100-kilometer races. And from his Instagram, we have seen that he has run more weather, hot less. I think that's probably how Rhiannon will put it. Yeah, he got back on the saddle 7 days later-ish and completed a more local 100K race. So Steve, you continue to be a beast. It will be good fun to see you back in the box sooner rather than later, mate. Then we've got Andrew, Kev, Llian, Donna, Hyrox, Sim. Now, I'm not sure everyone will understand what that is referring to. Not everyone knows about The Sims. The Sims was a computer game from probably late 90s, early noughties, where you had to control some avatars and you could manipulate their entire lives. So I'm presuming this means that they've been playing Hyrox Simulator somewhere, where someone has been gluing diamonds above their heads and forcing them to run and no rep wall balls. No more needs to be said about that. Yeah. So there it is. Those are the things that various people have done in the gym. There are a few more things that I'm not mentioning because I want to bring people onto the podcast. So I'm being selfish and I'm keeping those things for myself too. That is all to say. It's the end of the podcast. Bam. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much, especially to those who have been pestering me and bullying me to put another episode out. Remember to enter the CrossFit Llanelli CrossFit Games Fantasy League, and I'll see you at the box. Peace.